Hey, Battle Bill, here with another video, getting some more Season 12 Go Battle League battles, these taking place in the brand new Weather Cup Ultra League meta. So, as you can tell, the Weather Cup will be taking place with Pokemon at the 2500 CP and be restricted to the specific typings of Fire, Ice, Rock, and Water. And in today's video, I have a collection of my first battles in the Weather Cup meta and a relatively discount team at that, because this meta is going to be run by Cradily specifically, which you need level 50 for, and then a combination of Tentacruel and Lantern, also full level 50 XLs, along with other mons that I don't know off the top of my head that need to be max in XLs. A lot of XLs in this cup, just like most typical Ultra League metas. Now, Tapu Fini and Regirock on this team do not require XL candies to power up, but they do require a third move that's 100,000 dust. Now, Kingdra is the only XL mon on this list, but even at very good PvP IVs, it only hits level 41.5, so it's not that many XLs, not too expensive. This team is ABB weak to the main metamon of Cradily, but Kingdra does win that matchup. I got a collection of battles where I performed relatively well in these Weather Cup battles. Now I'm saying the same words twice. So please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let's jump into it. Let me break down the team so I can help you have some success in this brand new meta. So getting into this first battle, we have a Kingdra on a Poliwrath lead in Ultra League, in Weather Cup. Poliwrath is going to be running the charge moves of Dynamic Punch and Scald. We don't have to worry about Scald considering it's double resisted. We just have to worry about the Dynamic Punches coming through. They're not going to be running Ice Punch, and even if they were running Ice Punch, it'd be neutral damage to Kingdra regardless. So they want to go straight Dynamic Punch under every circumstance. So we decided to shield up the first one just to give them the thought that we were going to Octazooka, but we ended up going for the Outrage anyway. They ended up shielding regardless, and we lose the one shield matchup here, which we don't mind because we have a pretty hard answer in the form of Tapu Fini, and losing leads that Kingdra loses in this meta, Tapu Fini can typically come in and clean up relatively comfortable so that it can then take on whatever your opponent's backline mons are. They then recognize a farm down is happening, so they swap into a Swampert, and our last mon here is Regirock, so we want to stay in this matchup, and essentially we don't want to give up the shield. We don't want to use our shield, so we hope that this is a bait, ends up being a bait. I can't remember what the count was at this moment, and the battle's going fast for me to be keeping track, so it might have been the big move. Regardless, because we called it, we are able to land that surf and get as much water gun damage done as possible. Now, we do end up deciding to shield because we can't lock on the Swampert down with that health. It'd be too uncomfortable, and we don't want to potentially eat two moves where one we have to shield and then the other one ends up landing. They come in with the Talonflame, and this match is GG because Regirock, is going to do very well against the fire types of this meta. Not that there are plans to be too many of them. Now, the one other thing I like about Regirock is it has the cheapest charge move outside of Porygon. So out of the Regis, is the cheapest charge move with a fast move of Lock On. And then, of course, it has access to Focus Blast to hit the Cradilies that you're bound to see all over this meta for some super effective damage. Speaking of which, there's a Cradily. So let's see how this matchup ends up going. I did shield the first move. Essentially, with Kingdra, in most situations, you do want to shield, and your opponents will recognize this a lot of the time, so expect to be baited, and maybe you do want to actually call that bait, because after you shield, you want to Octazooka, which has a 50% chance of debuffing your opponent's attack. And because of the entire situation, the way that played out, we're able to win that lead. They come in with the Pelipper. We go for the Outrage. We cannot get there in time before getting Wing attacked, down Wing attacked, and then we at least get the Octazooka off. Do not get the debuff, but between the Dragon Breaths and that Octazooka damage, we get half the Pelipper's health. We have to come in again with Tapu Fini because Regirock's going to take super effective damage from the water, and they have a shield, so we're not going to be able to comfortably Stone Edge them. Now, we've overfarmed a little bit here. They did land the Hurricane. We didn't mind that coming through. We're waiting for their last mon. Their last mon is a positive matchup for a Regirock, even though it is a water type. It is Golisopod. Golisopod is a relatively underwhelming mon in terms of PvP just because of the charge movesets that it's given. It has Fury Cutter and now has Shadow Claw thanks to Season 12 update, but charge moves of Octazooka and X-Scissor and Aerial Ace are just not getting it done. So hopefully in the future, Niantic will do our boy Golisopod a little bit better so that it can actually stand up for itself in some PvP battles. But essentially, even here, when I'm deciding to let my Regirock go down, they can't even take me out because Aqua Jet, or was that Aqua Jet, Aqua Tail? No, Aqua Tail is such a bad move. Regardless, whichever one it is, not a good move either way. We Water Gun down. The Golisopod swaps out. They come with the Pelipper. They go with our charge move, which is a mistake because I have the shield. They're not getting to another charge move. We're going to fast move down, and we're going to win this third match of the set. I have a collection here of 10 battles, so I want to give you as many ins and outs as I possibly can. Getting to this next matchup, we have Kingdra on a Gyarados lead. Now, this is an awkward lead for us. It's one that we lose in like the 2 shields, but we can play the 0 shield relatively well because we survived the crunch, and we can get all the way to an outrage, which will get their shield or just win us the lead. So they decide to shield. We don't mind losing this because, again, Tapu Fini is going to come through and essentially clean up. Tapu Fini resists almost literally all of Gyarados' moves that it has access to, whether it be the water moves, the dark move of Crunch, the Dragon Breaths, whatever Gyarados is throwing, Tapu Fini resists. So we can literally come in here with our shield advantage and farm to 300 energy. Unfortunately, it caps at 100, so you'll notice in a little bit I've hit that max. Thankfully, I just hit the max as the Gyarados went down. They come in with an Alolan Golem, and this is a team I saw more than once where Gyarados led and Alolan Golem came in. So I don't know who put out this team comp, but I thank them because the team comp that I built performs very well against it. They then swap in Kingdra thinking we don't have any energy, so we go for the Moonblast, but I guess they did think we had energy, so I don't know why they swapped in. Maybe they didn't want the Alolan Golem to go down because they shield the Moonblast, which wouldn't have one-shot, but would have done a huge chunk to the Kingdra. Because we got the shield, you can see how quickly we're spamming up Stone Edges, and because we still have a huge 2-0 shield advantage in this situation, we're going to start using our shields. They throw an Octazooka, they do not get a debuff, we go for another Stone Edge. This takes out the Kingdra's remaining health. If they did get the debuff, I'm sure we probably could have locked on down or use one of our other shields. Either way, GG's to the opponent, they top lefted once it was the Alolan Golem on the Regirock. Getting into this next matchup, we got quite the Spice Mon from our opponent here, being Jinx with Confusion as a fast move, and then the main charge move it's going to want to throw is Avalanche because it is an Ice Psychic type. Avalanche being neutral damage, we're going to need to respect it. We are counting its 4 Confusions to every Avalanche, and we're building up as much energy before they get to the next one, so we can throw an Octazooka, force their shield, potentially get a debuff, or potentially take them out. Now, we don't really want to give up shield advantage here, so again, another one of these situations where we let the Kingdra go down for a different Mon to come in and farm, that being the Regirock, because they were so low on health, and we wanted to lock on farm down because that can generate a lot of energy for the next matchup. They then come in with a Poliwrath, which would typically hard counter our Regirock, so we get the shields. Could have been a Zap Can. I think Regirock has access to it, so it might have been the main reason why they respected the charge move. And then we swap in the Tapu Fini. I don't know why this opponent's running Ice Punch, but I do recognize this opponent's running an extremely spicy team, and Tapu Fini essentially slaughters their back line. So we're sitting here pretty comfortably. They could technically throw Wild Charges on their Arcanine, but because they did like 2 Snarls and we're out of move, it had to be Psychic Fangs, so we called it. We throw the Surf, literally take out 2/3 of the Arcanine's health. Arcanine, as adorable and as amazing as a moveset Pokemon has, stat-wise, defense-wise, it is lacking tremendously and unfortunately not very viable when you don't leave it any shields. The Poliwrath comes back in, we build all the way up to a Moonblast, and that will one-shot the Poliwrath's remaining health, and that is going to be GG's for that match. I can't remember what that lead was. I can't remember if Tapu Fini just swept the entire team. It doesn't really matter. Okay, getting into the next matchup, we have a Kingdra on Kingdra lead. The way I like to do this is build up to the Outrage and then throw the Octazooka, hoping we'll win CMP. But considering my Kingdra's IVs are really good, the attack's really low, I doubt we would ever win CMP. The opponent decides that they don't want to CMP with us, and then they swap into Empoleon. You may be wondering, why did I bring in Regirock? It's a rock type against a water type that's throwing a bunch of super effective water damage in the fast move realm and in the charge move realm. Well, we have a shield advantage, and because of lock on, we're super spammy. So we have access to Focus Blast, going to hit Empoleon for super effective damage. Boom! One shot completely obliterates the Empoleon's existence, and maybe a little family of Empoleons that would follow after. They come back in with the Kingdra, and Regirock has done its job, so we have no problem letting this charge move come through, but it's Octazooka, and Octazooka does not hit hard. So we're going to survive that. We're going to get to another Stone Edge. This, even with us being debuffed, will take out the Kingdra's remaining health. We'll see if they decide the shield. They do decide the shield, and because they decide the shield, we swap quick in the Tapu Fini. I really like Tapu Fini in this meta because of the fact that there are dragons running everywhere trying to do neutral damage to all the Cradillies, and as much as Tapu Fini doesn't do great against Cradilly, it does great against those dragons. They come in with a Gyarados. Surprise, surprise. We saw this matchup earlier. Tapu Fini absolutely walls and obliterates Gyarados. So we're just going to let all the charge moves come through. We're not going to shield a single thing. We're going to commit all the way to another water gun farm down. And honestly, I don't even think I have a single ilch of respect for Gyarados because I don't give it a single shield ever, obviously, for this matchup. We have a bunch of energy shield advantage, opponent top left. So we're getting top left after top left. I'm really liking this combination of this team comp. Getting into the next match, we have Kingdra on a Blaziken lead. Now, this looks like a super good lead at first sight because of obviously Water Dragon against Fire fighting, but they do have access to Brave Bird, which would hurt us a lot. They decided to Brave Bird and dip. Instead, they just did the dipping part into an Alolan Ninetales, which is another good pick for this Weather Cup meta, but we have a strong answer for it in the form of Regirock. But surprise, surprise, because it's a charm of Alolan Ninetales, Alolan Ninetales actually doesn't play this matchup too terribly. At least to the point where it can commit shields and still technically win this out. Especially because I really don't want to shield Weather Balls. So they get to another one here. Technically, I'm thinking like I could shield it, maybe get to 2 Stone Edges before they charm me down. But at this point, I'm like, you know what? Let's just land the Stone Edge. Hope it kills. It unfortunately does not. We'll lose Switch because we know that we have positive matchups against that Blaziken with both of our Mons, and we're better off with the shields in case that Blaziken decides to throw a Brave Bird anywhere. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Obama Snow does pretty well against his team comp also. And it does the truthful statement. Kingdra is our best matchup. Regirock, as much as it would take super effective damage from the grass damage that Obama Snow can throw, at least can spam Stone Edges to hit it relatively hard. And then at least Tapu Fini, which is the worst matchup, resists the ice and has the potential throwing a neutral Moonblast. But Tapu Fini definitely does not like that Obama Snow matchup. But at least Kingdra and Regirock aren't too terrible against it. Kingdra's probably good enough. Getting to this next matchup, we're facing another Gyarados lead. So you're seeing a relative. This is also becoming a relatively popular Mon being at least running amok. There we go. That's English. Continue commentating, Battle Bill. At least in the 2200s around my elo for the Weather Cup meta. Especially because Cradilly, you do literally need level 50. And I'm not saying people don't have it. And I'm not saying it's not possible to get legit. But it's still not a super easy to get. You do need to play relatively consistent amount to get access to a Mon like that. But we know how we want to play this matchup with our Kingdra. We play it out exactly the same as we did previously. Lose essentially the 0 to 1 shield because we don't give a shield, but they do. Then we come with Tapu Fini to completely wall this Gyarados and let it throw whatever charge moves it feels and wants before we Water Gun to Oblivion. So we're going for that full farm down. They get to another charge move. I still have not respected a single bit of damage the Gyarados has thrown to Tapu Fini. It has slowly added up. I am in the yellow technically. And they come with another Alolan Golem. We just saw this team earlier. I don't understand it, and I don't understand where it came from. Either way, we're not sure what their last Mon is, and we're trying to play our energy a little bit better so we can get a couple charge moves through before we essentially throw our move, or fast moves through, sorry. And because of that, they got greedy thinking we were on another Surf, and we're able to spam it. And then their last Mon, Chandelure. So big props to them being super spicy, but their team comp does not align well with mine. So we're going to throw the Stone Edge. It's going to one shot. We're going to 2 Shield Flex on our opponent. They top lefted in the middle of that. I'm not sure. Either way, the research, I love that little spoiler in the end, letting me know that a Stone Edge from Regirock one-shots a Chandelure. I guess not too surprising. Getting into the next matchup, we have a bad lead, so we're going to save swap into the Tapu Fini. That is going to be the main save swap that you want to go for with this team comp. You're not going to lose too many leads with Kingdra, but when it occasionally does happen, Tapu Fini is the way, mainly because if you go on Regirock, you're going in with the hard answer. Now, I threw a Surf thinking that, like, you know, that would be a stupid move. So obviously they're going to shield it because I should just go straight Moonblast. And the opponent just, you know, really countered my own stupidity by calling my bluff. And then I go for the Moonblast on the next one and they shield it. I at least get the attack debuff. And again, Kingdra has a hard time. Dragons in general just have a hard time dealing damage to the Tapu Fini. So we're going to be able to get off another Moonblast. But the Dragon Breaths, as double resisted as they are slowly adding up. But we still land the Moonblast. We win alignment and we win shield advantage. It was a very interesting swap to bring in the Dragon against Tapu Fini to begin with. They charm down our Tapu Fini, and then we come in with the Regirock because now, again, we have alignment and we have a positive situation. We're trying to get our timing as good as possible, get off the Stone Edge without trying to give them free charms. The Stone Edge would take out the Alolan Ninetales' remaining health. We get their last shield. We have shield advantage, and they're just like not even trying to get any of my shields. They're hoping they can charm me completely down, and that's a huge mistake, but regardless, now that I flipped alignment, Kingdra was going to obliterate that Swampert, whether I had 1 shield, 2 shields, or even 0 shields. So GG's to that opponent getting into the next match. We have a Kingdra on a Samurott lead. Positive matchup because it's a Dragon on water, but Samurott does have access to Mega Horn. Technically has access to Blizzard too, but you don't want to run Blizzard meta. As much as it sounds nice to hit the grass types and mainly Cradilly with some hard, super effective damage, Mega Horn gets the job done. We call their big move, so when we throw ours, if they want to essentially keep the shielding scenario the same, they need to let it come through, which is what they did. They come with the Blaziken, they farmed up energy, they're probably feeling good, and then we have another water type right behind it. I think we respect the Brave Bird here because we're not sure what their last Mon is, and we want to keep Tapu Fini alive just in case it's a Swampert, which would have performed very well against our Regirock. Now our goal here is essentially shield whatever big move, which could be Sludge Wave, which could be Earthquake from the Swampert, and not let our Tapu Fini go down. We're expecting a bait. They do bait. We call bait. That's huge play. We're getting another Surf off, and this is going to essentially give us our best play against the Swampert and hopefully avoid the scenario where our Regirock needs to be aligned with it. They then go for the Sludge Wave here. We shield it. We call it big. That's huge. But unfortunately, I think this is like the one match of the entire collection I end up losing because Swampert just plays this team so well. And it's so spammy, or at least the back line so well because, you know, even shielding and super effective Sludge Wave on Tapu Fini. They then come in with the Blaziken. They're going to get off a charge move here. Should be the fire move, but it ends up being the Brave Bird, which I guess also makes sense. Both would be resisted, and at least with Brave Bird, you're getting the maximum damage you can get off. We then throw a Stone Edge because we cannot fast move down, and we're hoping we can lock on all the way down. We get them to 1 HP. Technically, our Stone Edge was full, and if we would have clicked the Stone Edge, we just would have lost CMP. We end up losing this match. 1 HP in a dream. Even with, I think it was a good lead, but backline, Swampert did put in some work. I already explained why that would have good matchups. Getting into the next match, we have Kingdra on a Tentacruel lead. This is a relatively positive lead for the Kingdra. The Tentacruel has to just go straight poison moves, and you can no shield the Acid Sprites kind of comfortably. I think in the end, I lose the 2 shields, but maybe if I bait, I don't. Either way, they come with an Obama Snow. We throw an Outrage. We get their first shield there. Now, because we have to put a rock type on a grass type, we need to respect their super effective damage in the form of Energy Ball, and we use one of our shields, but we have the shield advantage, so we're going to essentially outpace them. They could have shielded there. They would have gotten to another move. We would have shielded that, gotten to another Stone Edge, won out that matchup, regardless if they wanted to commit with that 1 shield or not. And the Tentacruel comes back in. They're throwing a bunch of resisted, right? Rock resists poison. Pretty sure it does. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're throwing a bunch of resisted poison damage at us. Then they go for the Skull, which is super effective. Debuffs our attack. And then they swap really quick when we're trying to get the Stone Edge off. They come in with the Kingdra. I make a mistake here. And then I come in with my own Kingdra when I should have just came in with the Tapu Fini. The reason why I came in with Kingdra was because I wanted to do a lot of fast move damage there. Whereas Tapu Fini throwing double resisted water guns was going to struggle to do that. And also in the back of my mind, I completely forgot they led with Tentacruel. So I'm making this match way closer than it needs to be. And they get the 50% attack debuff. We do farm the remaining Kingdra's health. And then we go for a Surf, hoping to bait their shields. They call that bait. So now I'm just like, all right, well, now we got to spam Surfs. Maybe they let this come through. Or maybe, we'll probably get their last shield. And then we essentially hope that with the jabs and the acid spray, they don't even throw it, that we would survive and be able to off another Surf that still doesn't even kill. We then swap out because we want to clear the debuff at this point, a little bit late, but regardless, we got their health low enough, even with our debuff moves, to essentially fast move down with the Regirock, and that is GG in that match. Is that the last match of the set? That was the last match of the collection of battles. That was probably the worst one that I played, but out of all the battles, I felt like this team was very realistic cost-wise and has strong performance. You saw it go against some of the top meta. We didn't see a bunch of Cradilies, but we saw a couple. You saw the Obama Snow match, which is another really good Mon in some Weather Cup battles, and we were able to play that pretty well. Overall, cheaper than most potential Weather Cup teams. Not the cheapest, but I like it. I had a lot of success with it, and I highly recommend it. Please, in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts on the team. Please send me your battles. I'm going to do a nice combination of Ultra League battles and Weather Cup battles as they come around. Also, I just realized I should have thrown the Weather Cup symbol on screen. But in my mind, I'm like, it's an Ultra League meta, so let's leave up the Ultra League symbol. Hopefully, I adjust that, or you'll see some really weird edited image. Either way, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace!